Someone shared with me a long, long time ago this adage, and I've always felt like it was really important to remember. They said that the last step on the mountaintop is no more important than the first step down in the valley. And that's true. Every step is important. Well, here you are with the first step down in the valley. What is known in the podcast industry is podcast zero. And in this case, we're calling it podcast 100. Podcast is Joyhauling, living the RV life with Jim and Christie Jacobus. And we are so excited that you're joining us. And maybe you're the very first person that's ever listened to this, and that's the first step in the valley. Or maybe, just maybe, we have 10,000 subscribers and we're celebrating on the mountaintop right now. Nonetheless, we're excited to be with you. My name is Jim.
And I'm Christie
Jacobus, and this is Joyhauling with Jim and Christie Jacobus. Babe, how you feel about podcast 100?
I am so excited. I am really looking forward to sharing with people our adventures that we've had in an RV. We've been doing this for over 3 years and I can't say we've loved every minute, but the overall experience has been phenomenal. And I'm just really excited to have other people join us on the journey.
Yeah. And again, you said love most every minute. I'm sure we had some minutes we didn't love, but I'm kind of thinking the vast majority, 99.5%, have been fantastic.
That's so true. So true.
Yeah. So, gang, Christy and I are both presenters. We're both educators. We both do workshops and things like that. And one of the things that we realized, again, a long time ago, these things are old adages because they're true, is that anytime somebody hears you, whether it be on a stage or one-on-one or over a podcast, the first 3 questions they have are huge. And that's what podcast 100 is going to be all about. Those 3 questions are: who are you? Why are you here? And why should I care? And babe, let's answer who we are first. And I'm going to do this. Maybe you mind if I introduce you?
Oh, please go right ahead.
You mind if it's okay with you if I do that?
That's perfectly good.
It's going to be a better introduction because I know you don't like introducing yourself. But gang, that's my beautiful wife there on screen, or maybe you listen to this on audio alone. That's my wife, Christy. She and I have been married for 36 years.
36.
Almost 37. Valentine's Day, be 37 years for the two of us. Married in a hot air balloon, which should have been a pretty good precursor of things to come. She is a wild and crazy adventurer. As a matter of fact, next podcast, we're going to share a story with you. People ask us all the time how we got started, and I'm not going to ruin that today. I'm going to let you listen to the next podcast to hear the answer to that and kind of how we began all of this. But Christy has an incredible background that goes with living full-time in an RV. When I first married her, she was a nurse, all right, worked on the orthopedic floor of Herman Hospital in Houston, Texas. And folks, I always thought orthopedic floors for people with knee repairs and ankle repairs and things like that. Not at Herman Hospital. It was basically a trauma unit for people that had orthopedic things to do. And that's what she was doing when I first met her. Fast forward, she retired in June of 2020 when we went full time. So 35-year career as a nurse. And Christy's done a little bit of everything. Worked in SICU, worked in day surgery, worked as a nurse recruiter, and then wound up in education, which is where she gets a lot of her presentation skills from. So she's got a great medical background, healthcare background that she brings to the table. But that's not all. About 15 years ago, babe, you started down the road of getting your LPC. Is that right? Is that the right time frame?
Well, I started the journey in about 2004, but I've been an LPC for almost 20 years.
Oh, that time flies when you're having fun. So Christy is not only a healthcare professional, but a mental healthcare professional, and currently does continue to work, and we'll do an entire podcast on working because I do as well, but works as a counselor on 2 online platforms, both Talkspace and BetterHelp. Carries a pretty healthy caseload that she does take care of while we're on the road. And my wife is amazing in both of those deals. But what I would tell you is she is the sweetest, kindest, most patient human being. Thank goodness, because I need it all the time. And the best partner to be doing this travel with. You're going to hear a lot from her and all of these podcasts about kind of how she sees this and how she leads from her side of the truck, if you will. And babe, welcome to the podcast. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you. And so now it's my privilege to introduce the co-host of the podcast, my wonderful husband. Jim is focused a lot on my professional background, and in his professional life, Jim was not only a speaker, a trainer, a consultant, he did it at the highest level. He was a certified speaking professional. He spoke in front of large audiences for names that most people have heard of, like Southwest Airlines, Starbucks, Ernst and Young, I'm just to name a few, and did that as a career for over 30 years. He's been a consultant for numerous people and organizations, and he brings a wealth of knowledge about business and especially sales. One of the things that I think people would want to know about him is he is a voracious learner. He bought a drone the other day, not just so he has the ability to do some cool things with it, but because he wanted to master something in regards to the newest technology. He is the one that I lean on because in our household, we say, I am not your technology person. I'm not the person you go to with technology issues, which is unusual because I work on two online platforms. But the thing is, his desire to keep learning and keep growing and keep evolving in this. The ideal of the podcast was his. And so one of the things he challenges us both to do is grow and get better and stay up to date and stay current and stay relevant. He is my best friend. People ask us all the time when they're considering living life in an RV, how can y'all be around each other all the time? Well, I think it's caused us to grow closer to each other. They said, well, maybe the fact that you're a marriage counselor makes things easier. It helps us to navigate things because we have to rely on each other so much. I just said Jim is the balance to my softness. He's more direct. He's more in your face. We also laugh because I just realized I made a mistake earlier. Around our household, we say, I don't math because mathematical skills are not my forte. I thought if I started in 2004 in the journey of being an LPC, I could not have been an LPC for 20 years. So there you go. So Jim brings the math skills to the table. And the other thing is, when it comes to a lot of the things about RVing, we do try and balance each other out. But one of the things I think you would want to know about Jim is he has a passion for helping others. He is the most generous person I've ever met in not only money, but in time and in sharing experiences with him. So he'll bring a wealth of knowledge to the table about his role in our journey. And so y'all will have the opportunity to learn from him and hopefully get a taste of some of his passions for this season in our life. The other person,
I was going to say, keep going, babe. I was going to let you keep going. I forgot when you said a while ago, one thing you should know about Jim. I thought you were going to say he's very competitive. I thought that's where you're going to go. And then I realized I forgot to say something really important about you.
Stop.
Is how hot you are.
Stop.
So, okay, I think we're all caught up now.
Yeah.
And so the third member of our traveling squad is?
Traveling squad is our wonderful 100-pound yellow lab, Marley. And Marley gets to travel with us and is the best companion along the road. He just has adapted to this lifestyle. And he's just a phenomenal animal. And for those of you who have a dog or have a pet of any kind, you can know the connection that you have. And traveling with a dog presents a couple of challenges, but I think it far is outweighed by what a wonderful animal he is. So the third member of Team Jacobus is Marley Jacobus.
Yep.
And you'll see a picture.
And as Christy said, we call ourselves Team Jacobus, and we'll get into that more and more as we get in some of the other podcasts about lifestyle and how we do what we do and everything. But just suffice it to know that Chrissy and I made a decision a number of years ago that's very, very important to our relationship As a matter of fact, we have been doing a marriage podcast for a long, long time called Your Marriage Matters. And we talk about Team Jacobus in there. And what we believe is that the marriage is more important than either one of us individually. And we try to make all of our decisions based upon what's in the best interest of the marriage, not what does Jim want, what does Christy want. And quite frankly, it's been an important part of us being successful in this life. And we're not trying to tell you how your marriage ought to be. We're just telling you how it works for us. So the second question that people have is, why are you here? And three things: educate, motivate or encourage, and entertain. And babe, when it comes to education, that's what comes so natural to the two of us, is teaching people things. Matter of fact, I can tell you the next couple of podcasts, the next podcast, we're going to talk about our story. Next podcast after that, we're going to talk about the 4 questions we get asked all the time about living in an RV full time. Questions like, how do you keep from killing each other? How do you decide where you're going to travel? What skills are important to be successful? So that's podcast number 102, if you will. And then the next podcast is about, kind of life on the road and some of the things that we do while we're on the way. So we're very much educators at heart. We want to answer the questions that people ask all the time about not just living full time, but just RVing in general. We'll talk about our rig. We'll talk about campsites. We'll talk about travel. We'll talk about so many people that we've made friends with. We'll talk about our favorite places. We'll talk about how do we do those things. I don't think, babe, we're going to get a whole lot into, how do I level my RV? Although, we may have some shorts on that or some quick things about that. But at the end of the day, we really want to educate people and to share some ideas with you. And babe, what do you have in mind, or what is your vision for some of the things that we're going to do to educate folks?
Well, I go back to when we first started in this journey. Both of us came at this as real novices. We weren't big campers. We hadn't owned a large number of RVs before we did it. So the learning curve for us was quite steep. And we really had to dig in and lean on others, but also just kind of see how we want to make this work for ourselves. So when it comes to education, it was one of the things that, as we were talking through the process of living in an RV full time, it was part of the ideal, if you will, of how we came to the decision on so many aspects of this. What rig were we going to buy? What truck were we going to use? How were we going to do this? How were we going to downsize? So there was a great deal of education that had to come into the process. And some of it we learned from having to live it. Some of it we want to share with people so they don't repeat some of the same mistakes we made, or the rookie mistakes, because at the time we thought one of the first things that comes to mind is we bought a lot of stuff that maybe we didn't need to buy. We kept
Wait a minute.
We kept a lot of things for the RV thinking, oh, what if we need this one of these days? Like we were going to be out on a, deserted island or something. So there was a lot of education that we had to go through, and we leaned on others. And we hope to be that for other people, learn from the mistakes that we've made. Here's something that we've navigated. So that's what I think of education. Anything else you want to share?
Well, yeah, we were so fortunate early on, and we'll talk about people that have influenced us in the next podcast, but we were so fortunate early on to find Changing Lanes and Keep Your Daydream, which are 2 great YouTube channels. And one of the things I remember the folks on Keep Your Daydream shared right off the bat was, you're going to make mistakes. Learn to laugh at them, learn from them, and move on. And babe, I think we did a really good job of that. That was such a good word. Matter of fact, we could probably do a podcast of me just walking around the RV, taking pictures of the little nicks and bruises that the RV has from the very first day we left to go on our trip to Maine. I ran up next to a truck and bruised the side of the RV, scratched it, still there to this day. the scratches on the door when we tried to close the door before we put the steps all the way down. I mean, just mistakes right and left. But I think we've done a really good job of learning we learn from them. All right. We learn, we don't make the same mistakes. We learn to laugh at ourselves because, like you said, we're truly novices. We'll talk about that more in the next podcast. But we've done a good job of moving on. And so we want to do that. And in a way, in that education part, we want to encourage you. All right. We really want to encourage you. People ask us all the time about living full time in an RV, and we tell them the same thing. All right. You and I both have the same line. It's not for everybody, but we love it. And I'm just going to say, whatever vision we had, and we had a pretty big vision for this, it's been way better than we dreamed of. I mean, that's my point of view. Would you say the same? I mean,
right.
I don't put words in your mouth, but I think I know you pretty well.
Well, I think one of the things, like you said, it's not for everybody, but it is something that we really enjoy. And if this isn't for you, or our idea of living in an RV isn't for you, find something that is. We want to encourage you to use the time that as we're doing this. One of the things we also tell each other is there will never be enough time. No matter what. When we went, you mentioned the trip to Maine. I thought, oh, we're going to have a month in Maine. We're going to be able to see a lot of stuff. There were still so many things we wanted to see and do, and there wasn't enough time. So what we want to do is encourage people to find their joy hauling, to find their joy.
Yeah, their version of it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, and again, there's nothing about this that can't be figured out. And babe, I like that whole idea that, we want you to know we're here for you too. That's part of what we're here for. So, and then hopefully we'll have some fun doing it. We'll be entertaining. We'll have a lot of fun. We'll share videos with you of a place that we've gone. And, babe, I wanted to make sure we said that this is about our RV life. Okay. And ours happens to be full time. But if you are weekend warriors, or you are part-timers, or you are people who take vacations in RVs for extended amounts of time, whatever your lifestyle is in an RV, we hope you'll stay with us because we're going to be teaching a lot of things that would be appropriate for whatever you do out there. And, oh, by the way, if you want to live your life vicariously through our full-time travels, feel free to do that. If you want to have some fun at our expense because of the mistakes we make, we'll do that. We'll share with you some of the places we've been, and maybe we can inspire you and encourage you to go like Christy said, we spent a month in Maine. We've been to the national parks in Utah. We've been to Grand Canyon. We've been to Yellowstone, overlooked and underappreciated Arkansas. Babe, I know is one of your favorite places to go. I mean, I just think this would be a great place for anybody who wants to kind of hang on or hang out and learn about some of the places that we've been. Would you?
Right.
Would you? I mean, who do you think this is most appropriate for? Or what do you feel like they're going to get out of it?
I think this would be appropriate for anyone who wants to explore their thoughts of what they want to accomplish. Around the theme of an RV is, of course, important. But what are some things they might want to put down on their bucket list of stuff to do? So I think this can be the motivation or opportunity for everybody to explore inside themselves what they need to do to take their next step. What's going to bring them joy.
Yeah, and again, part of what we want to do is to answer questions for you. You'll be able to get a hold of us or connect with us on our Facebook group called Joyhauling. And by the way, we call it Joyhauling. That's our name for all of this. And you might be going, why Joyhauling? Because we have a toy hauler. Grand Design Momentum $399 toy hauler. We do not haul toys. We use that extra space for our office, and we'll certainly be sharing you more and more about how we set up our rig and why. But joy hauling is what we came up with immediately right off the bat because we feel like life is supposed to be such a joy, and we're having a joy being with you guys. So question number 2, why are we here? But most important question of all is, why should you care? And babe, I'm gonna let you hit that first one there because I think you've already talked about it a bunch, but talk a little bit more about how much we had to learn, how much we still have to learn, and how we go about it.
There is so much to learn, but that's the exciting part. You're always having new opportunities, learning from other people. We're on several Facebook groups, we're in several forums where we get to listen to other people. And one of the things that we're really fortunate to do is we get to attend rallies where other like-minded people get together, and the opportunities to learn are in a variety of ways. And we hope to share some of the things that we've learned, and what it is that can make your journey a little bit easier. How can we shorten the learning curve for you
Yeah.
so that you can really enjoy this? And so I think there is a great deal to learn.
Yeah. And again, I think Christy said, well, I bought a drone because I want to take some really cool pictures. But the main reason I bought a drone is because I was looking forward to learning how to fly it. I've already had a lot of fun with it. We're going to be posting a lot of videos and things like that using the drone, and a lot of other pictures we take along the way. But I have said, as part of my professional speaking career for many, many years, as long as we're learning, we're living. The moment we stop learning is the moment we start to die. I don't think it has anything to do with age. I think it's about staying in a constant mode of being interested in what's going on in the world around us. And babe, we've learned so much. I think the things people ask us all the time that we share is, one, this is an amazing country. I don't care where you go. I don't care if you are in Nebraska and I'm not trying to pick on Nebraska, but wherever you go, this is an amazing country. And babe, it's full of amazing people, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So true. So true.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that it is going to be important. And this brings us to step number 2. This could be a lonely journey. A friend of mine just recently asked what has been the hardest thing, because we were so involved in the city of Sugarland. And
Yeah.
when we decided to do this, we left a sense of community, a community church, a community workplaces. We left the sense of neighborhoods and neighbors and stuff. So we have to kind of create our own. So that's what we hope to do also through this podcast, is have a sense of community, that your questions are valid and that you have resources that you can use. And that sometimes we use the sense of RV community when we get to locations, we go out of our way to get to meet people. So
Yeah.
remembering that this can be a lonely journey and everything is going to be a reason why you might want to care. So what do you think about that? What do you think about the journey being a little on the lonely side?
Well, I mean, it is. And when I was thinking about how we put this together, if you're out there and you are full time in an RV and you tell your family you're going to go live full time in an RV, you're going to do what? I think this is kind of lonely, babe, sometimes simply because we're the only people that get each other. I mean, if you're out camping and you're a weekender, all right, you're full of your campground's full of other people that do weekend stuff, where so many of your friends are at home enjoying their nice, comfortable beds, and they can't even imagine going to Brazos Bend State Park for a week, or going to Big Bend, which we took a trip out there for. They can't imagine doing anything like that. So the cool thing about the community here is that we all get each other. We all understand it. And if you're moving from place to place, unless you're traveling with, 4 or 5 other people that like to camp as well, every time you show up at a park or a campground or something like that, the whole thing's full of people you don't know. And so at times it can be lonely, and we are the ones that get each other. And we want to make sure that this is a little bit less lonely journey, because no matter where you're at, no matter what's going on, if you got a question, you're going to be able to reach out to us. And I think that's really kind of part of why we're doing this, is to be a resource to people. And then at the end of the day, like I said, we're going to be here for you. If you have questions about, batteries, or if you have questions about travel, you have questions about planning or booking or Harvest Host or Boondockers Welcome or going to a rally, or as Christy said, we are actually getting ready to leave here in just a couple of days to head to Indiana for the Grand Design National Owners Rally. It's going to be a huge rally. 6 or 7 RVs going to be there, or 600 or 700 RVs are going to be there. We're going to catch up with a lot of old friends. We're going to make some new friends. But on our way back from that, we are actually what's called the Wagon Masters for a Grand Design Rally in Kerrville, Texas, where we have about 110, 120 rigs coming in. And we have to be really intentional about keeping a sense of community, but we love helping people. We love encouraging people. We love sharing ideas. We love answering questions. So that's really what we're here for and kind of why we are doing this. So who are we? Jim and Christie Jacobus, along with Marley's team Jacobus. Why are we here? Educate, encourage, um, and to what was the third one?
Entertain.
Entertain. Well, so my lapse in ease will be entertaining for people there. And then why should you care? Because we care about you. We want you to get the most out of your journey, and we want to encourage you to enjoy something that is your version of joy hauling. That's what we'll be here for. So all of those things said, here's what we'd like for you to do. If you don't mind, we'd love for you to join us on the journey. You can go to Joyhauling, a Facebook group, and join there. We'd love to have you be a part of that, where we're going to do tons and tons of stuff beyond the podcast itself. We'll have all kinds of things going on. Share this with your friends that are RVers. Hopefully we have earned the right for you to say, hey, look, here's a new podcast. Take advantage of it. I think you'll enjoy these guys, and we're going to make it enjoyable for you. And as well, wherever you got this particular podcast, do us a favor and give us a review. If we've earned it, we certainly would appreciate that. Subscribe to the channel. You'll be able to find us at joyhauling.com, Joyhauling Facebook group, and Joyhauling on YouTube. It's going to be fun to do this. Babe Podcast 100 is almost officially in the books. What do you want to leave everybody with before we get out of here?
Well, I think, as you said at the very start, this is a new chapter for us, a new beginning in doing podcasts on RV life. So if there's anything you want to know or need to know that you think we can help you with, please reach out. Please let us know what are some struggles that you've had, because I think that goes back to that sense of community. And as Jim just said, we are fixing to start off. We call our friends who live in Texas for the winter Texans. This time we're going to become Southern Midwesterners. So we are escaping the Texas heat to go further north. And so we are going to also be sharing some of the trials and tribulations of travel. And that's harder to say than I thought. So we've got some exciting things planned in the future that we want to share with folks, but we're just glad that you're along with the journey. So thank you for listening to us. Hunt, anything you want to share?
Just tell them safe travels. We'll catch you down the road somewhere. Bye, gang.
Take care.
Later.